Our first estimate, were based on what we saw in Asia, that, it was a place in which, the pandemic there was solved or treated a bit before Europe and North America, and the recovery was slow. Then it accelerated in the past days, and we have seen this acceleration, moving to Europe and to North America, and the bookings are pretty higher than we were expecting. So there is a strong appetite coming from passengers to fly again. That's good news for us.
Alexandre, we've talked about this many times, but the flag carrier model does not build resilience into the sector. It takes away the role of the private sector and replaces it with a public set of criteria, which in my eyes and in many people's eyes thwart the business model as well. If Europe could move away with its desperation with having flag carriers by country for every country, surely it would be more resilient. And I do appreciate, of course, that this pandemic we've had has been a special set of circumstances, but the kind of level of losses you're talking about, I believe, are only exacerbated because we're so desperate in Europe to have individual flag carriers for every country.
I wouldn't say that exactly. There is not a model that is more resilient than another one. It was depending more on the financial situation before the crisis. In North America, airlines were more financially resilient, and strong. They had stronger balance sheet. They were more profitable. In Europe, it was slightly below that, even if it was better than in Asia or in Middle East. And in these countries, in Europe and in Asia, you have seen legacy carriers being resilient and strong. You have seen also low-cost carriers being weaker or even sometimes stronger. So there is no rule in terms of what is the better business model. It was really depending on the financial situation pre-crisis. And now, the future of the full-service carrier, even the national carrier, strongly depend on the previous financial situation, but also on the bailouts that have been put together by the local governments, particularly in Europe, but it's true as well in Asia.
So I'm going to ask you a very selfish question now, if I may. I am very much hoping that my family holiday to Europe will still happen this summer. And yet I have a government here led by the Home Secretary, Priti Patel, and Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister, that seems to think that some form of splendid isolationism at this late stage of the pandemic is the way forward for Britain. Do you have any knowledge that says I will get my holiday in Europe this summer?
I think that European countries will lift travel restrictions and open borders, particularly within the Schengen area. For the UK, I strongly hope that they will follow the same movement. So they will, release travel restriction and open borders, at least where there are European neighbors. And for that, we are urging, the UK government to stop the quarantine measures, because we think that if they implement, the processes we have put together for health control and sanitary check for passengers, it is useless to implement quarantine. And so we urge all governments, and particularly the UK one, to stop putting passengers in quarantine, provided they have implemented the right processes.
Director, you represent about 290 airlines, I believe, just over 80% of total air traffic. What are you hearing in conversation with your members in terms of returning service to normal?
We have seen, two phases. 4 weeks ago, the sector was in a complete disaster, with very pessimistic outlook and a very pessimistic vision of the future. So, the airlines were not planning to return into service quickly. For now, one week or 2 weeks, optimism has come back. And so following the bookings that we were talking about just before, and we see particularly European airlines, but also US airlines, following the Asians, are planning to restore capacity and to put more capacity than expected. So optimism is coming back. And so I can tell you that you will probably be able to take your vacation and to fly at least to Europe. For the intercontinental flight, you should, I think, wait for the fourth quarter.